So good evening, everybody. My name is Alexandra Brathwaite. I am the social justice coordinator with Queens Defenders. I'm the one that has been communicating with you all via email and coordinating this whole thing also with my partner. Yeah, just mute yourself, Lastra. So thank you all for being here. And we're gonna get right into it. So let me get the agenda. Give me 2 seconds. And we will be moving right along with this. Let's see if it opens. Yes, it opens. Okay, great. So for starters, Jaden, would you like to give us our fantastic introduction?
Hi everyone, my name is Jaden Gab, and I am a homework helper for Queens Defenders, and I am a member of the Blank Project. For those of you that may not know that what Queens Defenders is a nonprofit organization and a public defense law firm. Queens Defenders offers numerous programs varying from tutoring help, housing, food distribution, social justice, activism, youth justice court, and much more. To give you all a brief introduction about the Queens Defenders Blank Project will come from one of our very own, Craig German. Craig, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? You can put the thumbs up in the chat if you would like, all that good stuff, all of that good stuff. So, first and foremost, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all so much for being here. So, what is the Blank Project? The Blank Project, Blank is actually an acronym which stands for Building Leaders and Activists in a New Culture. And yes, that is culture with a K. Members of the Blank Project learn about law, organize rallies and marches, and fight for social justice. Our team is committed to standing and fighting for marginalized groups in our country. The goal is to raise our voices and bring awareness to all issues that are arising or not talked about. So now that I've given the introduction for what the Blank Project is, let's introduce you all to our members. First up, we have Shadiman Walters.
Hi, everyone. Happy Black History Month. My name is Shadiman Walters, and I'm a student at Channelview School for Research and a volunteer at Queens Defenders, a Blank Project, and I'm happy to be here tonight.
Thank you so much, Shadiman. Next up, we have Miss Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Morrison. I'm a recent graduate at Channelview School for Research, and I'm going to be one of your moderators tonight.
Fantastic. Next up, we have Roa.
Hi guys, salam and salam means peace. My name is Roa. I'm a student at KBCC. I'm currently majoring in English, and I'll be one of your moderators today. I'll be the chat moderator.
Thank you, Roa. Up next, we have Miss Angela.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Happy Black History Month every single day. We celebrate Black history every single day. With that being said, I am the co-chair of a coalition in the Rockaways called Frank. I am also an outreach coordinator at Queens Defenders, and I'm also a proud member of the Blank Project. Thank you all for joining us today. We are so happy to have you here.
Wonderful, and I forgot to introduce
and if I may add, I am also one of your moderators.
We remember that. Goodness gracious, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Craig, as Jaden said. I'm a 17-year-old homeschooled senior from Southeast Jamaica, Queens, whoop whoop. And I will be, just enjoying the conversation.
Thank you, Craig. And Giselle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello guys, it's Giselle Carter here. I'm currently going to Nyack School of Music, and I'm also 20 years old, and I'm a very proud member of the Blank Project. And happy Black History Month to you all, and I'm really looking forward to where this conversation is going to go.
Yes, thank you. Those are a couple of our Blank Project members. We have a grand total of 23 Blank Project members, but due to school and other prior engagements, some of them are not able to be with us right now. But moving right along, so like you guys mentioned, we have Shadiman Walters as one of our question moderators. We have fantastic Angela Williams, and we have Tracy Morrison. So let's jump right into it. Give me 1 second to add this person into this. Moving right along, we have our fantastic elaborate panel of Black excellence. So without further ado, our first Black panelist is Miss Renee Moats. She is the Vice President of External Affairs at St. John's Hospital. Welcome. And then we have Mr. Tim David, my great friend, Mr. Tim David. Thank you for joining us. He is a DJ, a saxophonist, music producer, audio engineer, and financial advisor. And on top of that, Malloy graduate. Welcome. Then we have Mr. Mike Riley, outreach assistant for Queens Public Library, entrepreneur, and University at Albany graduate. Hi, Mike. Welcome for joining us. Then we have Miss Colleen Babb, the Executive ADA, Bureau Chief of Community Partnerships for the District Attorney's Office. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Thank you. And then we have Miss Shirley Jean, Health Inspector Level 2 for the Department of Health. Thank you, Shirley, for being here. Then we have Ms. Forgive me. She's Ms. JL Lewis. She is the creative producer and designer at More Media Corporation. Thank you for being here. Then we have our fantastic Ms. Gabriella Friday, PhD student and Clifford Clark Fellow, Department of Sociology at Binghamton University. Nice to see you again, Ms. Gabriella. Then we have Mr. Kofi Forson, clothing designer of a Kizzle brand and Black mental health advocate. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Forson. So now let's move right along to this. So the first question, just to get it started, Shadiman, would you like to give us the first question?
Okay, let's get this started. So the first question goes to Miss Jean, Miss Babb, and Miss Motas.
Miss Moats.
Moat, my apologies. Miss Moat. So the first question is, what does Black History Month mean to you? And anybody could start the conversation.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Well, Black History Month means to me, of course, celebrating Black excellence, whether it's our historic ancestors to what's going on now. Like all of us, we represent Black History Month. We're all striving, whether it's school, our careers, businessmen and women. So I believe that we all represent that. So just having this forum, I give you guys so much credit for this. Just having this awareness means a lot also. So I feel that we all play a part in it. And just hopefully we can make it all year long, like Angela said. It shouldn't just be 1 month. We should celebrate each other every day.
And I definitely agree with Shirley. First, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm truly honored to be on this panel and to speak to all of you. And, you know, just to add to that, it's really just taking a moment to celebrate all of the great impacts that Black people have made, whether it's big, small. You know, we don't always see the impact on a major stage, but there's small contributions that help to shape the lives of generations, you know, for years to come. So it's just really celebrating those moments and taking time like this to just appreciate it.
And I'm just going to piggyback on what Renee said is, to me, Black History Month means educating others about our culture. Because for us, we live Black History 365. So it's not a month, it's not a day, it's our life. We don't get to, you know, we were born this color, we'll die this color. So we live it. And so February just means it's an opportunity to educate others who are not in our culture, because it's an opportunity to say, now this month, you have to be exposed to it. You have to engage. You have to open your minds to at least learn about it. Even if you choose to ignore everybody the other 11 months, this month, at least there's an awareness. And how we develop that and expand on that leads to what we do the other 11 months.
Okay, great. So we will get to the next question. And this question is for Ms. Babb, Mr. David, and Mr. Riley. So the question is, if you had to choose someone from Black history to be your hero, who would it be and why? The floor is open.
All right.
For me, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
For me, because I'm a prosecutor and because I'm a lawyer, I think about Thurgood Marshall because I think of what he did and how he laid that pathway to be the first to do things is always great as long as you're not the last. But I think about his challenges. When I first became a prosecutor, before I became a prosecutor in the Queens DA's office, I was a prosecutor in the Brooklyn DA's office for 24 and a half years. And it was, the first week I got my new suit and my briefcase and I'm all proud and chest puffed out. And I walk into the courtroom and, and the court officer says, attorneys sit there. And I look and I said, so I'm in the right place. And I sat down. And so if how many years later, I'm still going through it. I can't even process what he went through being first. So he's my role model in terms of Black history. But for me, my everyday role model and my hero was my dad, because he's not one that will make the books, but the foundation he laid, he drove a train for 28 years before he retired, and he raised 10 kids, 7 boys. And so a roof over our head and never went to bed hungry, to me, that's a hero. And he'll never be in the books, but he laid the foundation to make me who I am today.
That was amazing. I don't even want to talk after that. That was amazing. Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. Being a musician, and especially a Black musician, and a jazz lover and a saxophonist, if I had to choose someone from Black history to be my hero, it would definitely be Louis Armstrong. He was a monumental pioneer in the jazz culture, just taking it mainstream. Of course, back then it wasn't a mainstream genre, but taking it mainstream. And I don't know how many of you guys know, he lived in Queens. He actually lived in Corona. His house is still there. It's a museum. Shout out to anybody that lives in Queens and Corona or wouldn't know. But I actually played at his house twice. They do an event every summer where they allow people to play, and I was part of a program, and luckily I was able to play there twice. And it's just a magical thing. So he would definitely be somebody that I would look up to as a hero.
All right, and good evening, everybody. Likewise, thank you for having me. And I would honestly say, if I had to choose a hero for for Black History Month, I would definitely say Malcolm X. I feel like a hero to me is somebody that no matter what obstacles they face, is gonna be, they're gonna definitely always fight the fight, even if that means putting themselves in danger way, putting themselves in harm's way. And I feel like even in the final moments of his life, when he felt like there was like some type of lingering danger around him, he still tried to keep the fight going, and definitely speak and motivate people to know that, we need change now. I feel like his words definitely spoke light to the situations that African Americans were facing at the time, and the systems that kept African Americans in like a second class citizenship. And even those same systems that perpetuate into today, even when he speaks about, the influence of media and things like that, so I definitely feel like Malcolm X would be my hero.
Okay, so we can move on to the next question. That was beautiful. So this question is for Miss Friday, Miss Jean, and Miss Moats. And the question is, how do you feel about the way Black history is being portrayed in the school districts?
I guess I can start with that one. So I can talk about it from the perspective of students coming into my college classrooms, and basically it's a very watered down education, plain and simple. Like for me, I feel like it's only talked about, only time we're really talking about Black history is in February. It's a lot of times only in terms of oppression. It doesn't fully discuss Black contributions, and it's not comprehensive. I can't tell you how many times students think civil rights was solely an issue of the 60s, and they're not taught about the importance of Rodney King, Combahee River Collective, Toni Morrison, Assata Shakur, Fred Hampton. and just so many others. I feel like coming into my class becomes a crash course in like the real American history, which is the real Black American history.
I can speak about it from the perspective as a parent. You know, my children are the 1% in their school district. And what I try to, you know, tell my daughter specifically, you know, we're originally from Brooklyn, and, you know, they miss the culture that Brooklyn gives you. And so what I tell her is that, you know, it's an opportunity to take your culture and teach your friends about your culture, because the school does not teach it. But for them, our family, my husband and myself, we teach them to teach others. And so I do have some other, you know, friends who are principals, and because they have a strong ethic towards Black excellence and educating Black scholars, they embed it into, you know, their curriculum to ensure that their scholars understand who they are. So I really am not in agreement with how it's represented, because it's not represented across the board as something that New York State puts in their, you know, their curriculum of what students have to learn. But I do put a lot of responsibility on the leaders in the school, because they do have the flexibility to create a curriculum that they can add to enhance the education of Black, you know, Black history in the schools. And I think that they're not doing it. But the help that we can give is educating our young people to be the educators, and those that are in the school system, like, you know, Dr. Friday, you know, to be the one to educate those individuals so that we can continue to build that momentum until we see the change come.
Hi, I definitely agree that it does help from home. I could even speak from personal experience. Even back in college, my mom would actually give me some history, not just American history, but on Haitian history. I still remember doing a paper, and I barely looked at the textbooks because they had nothing. Back then, before internet, well, not that long ago, but with internet help and of course books, you barely find anything on Black history, the West Indies, the Caribbean, any other countries. So it definitely helps when you have family members educating you, and we have to keep that cycle going, educating ourselves, encouraging our youth to buy other books, buy biographies, autobiographies on all our heroes, anyone in history, because the textbooks won't show it as much as they should. And as everyone was saying, it's usually just for the month, it's usually just, you know, negative history, if anything. So it definitely is helpful when we educate each other and just keep the cycle going. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's great to have education from your peers, from your elders, and even from you guys just sitting here teaching us and giving your point of view. Definitely helps us to learn things that we might haven't connected the dots before. So our fourth question is for Mr. David, Mr. Riley, and Mr. Forson. How do you empower your peers?
Really, really fast, before anyone answers. For the purposes of time and for the sake of time, please keep your responses within 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, just so we can make sure we get to everyone.
I could go. I'm gonna keep it within 2 minutes. I got you, Craig. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. And then also, I feel like this is very well organized. I couldn't do something like this. And I know like organizing events, especially virtually, is a lot. So I just want to give y'all props. But the way I empower my peers is I'm a mental health advocate. I went through depression when I was in college. And so I started a brand called the Kizzle brand, which is aimed at raising awareness for depression. And then also I started a podcast in a community called Express Yourself Black Man, because as Black men, normally we're taught not to, you know, express ourselves, or that expressing ourselves is like a sign of weakness. So I try to empower Black men specifically to express themselves and then go to therapy and deal with their mental health. So those are some things that I'm passionate about, and that's how I try to empower my peers.
Great answer, great answer. And I guess I will go next. I would say one way that one way that I empower my peers, definitely through, a tool that we all use in today's society, social media. I feel like I use my personal social media to kind of like empower and spread awareness about civic engagement and especially the importance of local elections. When it comes to my generation, I feel like there's kind of like a misconception that people feel like their votes don't count, or they're just not informed. And I feel like me being able to promote certain elections and being able to give information shows people that I look like you, I dress like you, I talk like you, and I'm still engaged and I'm engaged in everything that's going on in my community. So what's your excuse? And then I'm also a point person that people can come to for information. Also just another emphasis on the power of the youth, because when I think about people like Fred Hampton, who met his untimely death at only 21 years of age, he was able to accomplish so much by that time. Personally, my fraternal brother, Bobby Rush, was 21 when they started their chapter of the Black Panther Party in Chicago, Illinois at that time. So I feel like the power is definitely in the youth, and people need to understand that, you can't be looking to other people or saying that you're not like that type of person or whatever the case may be. Like, you have the power, you need to do something.
That was amazing, bro. Amazing. I 100% agree with you. And kind of piggybacking off of what Michael was saying, I think similar to what he was saying, I empower my peers by focusing on a little bit on the youth. Being a teacher, I've worked with after school programs, and right now I'm a substitute teacher at a middle school. Being so young, I like to connect with the kids and just try to pass down any type of inspiration or motivation to, achieve anything possible. Whether it's an opportunity to work, learn, grow any possible way that doesn't directly benefit me, is important. People always want something in return, and anything that I do, I always try to do it and make sure that people understand that this is so you can better yourself. That's super important. I'm gonna keep my answer short.
Okay, moving right along. The next question is for Miss Friday, Mr. Forson, and Miss Lewis. Martin Luther King had a dream, but what is your dream for our community?
I can go. So I think my dream would be getting rid of the stigma associated with mental health in our community. So like I talk to a lot of different people about going to therapy, and a lot of times people are hesitant because they feel like therapy is like someone just sitting there judging you and judging your life. But I'm in therapy and I love it, and it's not something that I feel like you have to do because there's something wrong with you. I feel like everybody should be in therapy. So I feel like my dream would be normalizing therapy, especially in the Black community, and normalizing men showing emotions and not seeing it as a sign of weakness.
For myself, I think my dream would be a community steeped in healing. For those of you that don't know, my research focuses on incarceration. So I work with incarcerated men, women, and children in the upstate New York area. And so I consider myself a prison abolitionist. And when it comes to a community that's steeped in caring and healing rather than punishment, incarceration is what I'm talking about. It means a genuine equal access to honest and true education. It means resources for those in need, poor, addicted, or otherwise. It means that truly all Black lives matter, queer, non-binary, or otherwise. It means structurally changing our day-to-day interactions, governing and purpose, and rethinking about how we interact with each other, how we see each other, how we understand criminality, crime, punishment in our society, and making society a place where making a mistake isn't the end of your existence or your social death, as some would say.
That was super deep. All the answers that you guys gave, it resonated. You know when something gives you chills? That all your answers entirely gave me chills just now. So moving right
Right,
along.
I'm sorry. I would just like to say that Miss Friday, I would love to read your thesis because it sounds good.
Girl, when I get to it,
Whenever.
Yes, yes,
That
yes,
was
yes.
amazing.
I don't believe Miss Lewis is here at the moment. I believe that she's running a few moments late. However, if you guys don't mind, please, my moderators, just move along with continued questioning.
So the next question for tonight is for Miss Jean and Miss Moats. And the question is, what are your thoughts on people using Black culture for societal attention?
I think that, you know, when you have a platform, you have to utilize it wisely. And, you know, because people's lives are connected to it. Not everyone gets the opportunity to, you know, bring awareness and to be able to stand in front of people and, you know, speak and encourage and uplift and motivate. You know, that's a special gift. And I think that those individuals that are using it for personal gain, you know, at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, the lives that come behind you. So I don't agree with it. And I think that, you know, when you're on your platform, you got to be wise about what you say, your intentions of what you're doing, and know that, you know, it's not just you standing there, it's other individuals that are behind you, cheering you on, and hoping that you succeed so that they can succeed.
So if anybody doesn't want to comment on that, because that was like a little quick. No? Okay. So the next question is for Miss Friday, Mr. Forson, and Miss Moats. What inspires you to get into your career?
I guess I can start. There's so many reasons. First of all, I remember when I was an undergrad, I saw, actually, in my undergrad, I don't even think I ever saw a Black woman professor. Let me think about that for a second, actually. Yeah, I never had a Black woman professor in my undergrad. I had maybe one Black guy, and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then I come to Binghamton, like it's the same thing. And so it was just part of it was about showing that there's someone that looks like us, that looks like me specifically, being a Black cis woman, right? And showing that I can teach, showing that there's someone at this level and able to be able to have these discussions at this level. Second of all, my passion for teaching, to be honest, like whenever I'm leading a classroom, it's one of my favorite things. I love having the discussions. I love hearing what my students have to say. I love it when they challenge me. I love just that interaction and being in this like higher learning space where people are constantly like keeping me on my toes about things that I think I'm like the shiznit with it, but clearly I may not be because they come at me with different information. I'm like, oh, I never even thought of it that way, dude. And honestly, I genuinely do like the research. Like, don't get me wrong, it's sometimes hard being in a book all day, but every day I learn something that just completely changes my mindset, that completely restructures my whole way of thinking about myself or thinking about how I situate myself or people similarly situated to myself, you know? And so I love that I'm constantly on this journey of learning and healing and learning and healing and learning and growing and learning and growing through teaching, reading, and just trying to be the best Black woman professor I could be.
And for me, I kind of grew up, you know, in this life. My dad was an entrepreneur, and so in understanding how to do marketing and business, and you know, he was very politically savvy and you know very politically connected, and you know, so I kind of grew up in this lifestyle, and you know, my life is really a full circle in a lot of things that I've done, and you know, so I kind of grew up. I always knew I wanted to help people. And so in the positions that I have right now at the hospital, I oversee marketing, communications, grants acquisition, philanthropy, government affairs, community affairs. And I've been doing that for the past, you know, 15 plus years. And then also I teach at Hofstra University. I am the only Black woman in my department. I teach in the school, in the Lawrence School of Communications. So I teach the capstone course in the master's program. And so, and I did that for the same reason that Ella said. You know, when I first went to Hofstra, you know, one of the young girls came to me and said, I've never seen someone that looks like me in this department. And I knew that I was there for more than just myself. I knew I was there representing others, and I knew I had to be there. So I just kind of, you know, do what I love to do. I love to help people. You know, I love to make sure that people are connected, that, you know, I'm advocating and fighting specifically for healthcare in the Rockaways, and then also taking everything that I have learned and depositing into the next generation.
I honestly loved both of y'all, like your answers, because like when I listen to y'all speak, what it sounds like is you guys are both creating things that you guys wish existed. So you, Miss Friday, you know, being a teacher, you not seeing teachers, and then you, Miss Moats, you saying that you're the only Black woman in your department, and that's kind of similar to my story. So when I was in undergrad, I was going through depression and mental health issues. And I just wish there was someone that would have told me, like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel your feelings. Because at that time, I was suffering from like a lot of toxic, like hypermasculinity, and not knowing how to express myself, not knowing how to deal with hurt, not knowing how to deal with trauma. And so that's the reason why I got into like mental health advocacy, especially in the Black community, because I didn't see anybody like me that knew enough or was emotionally intelligent enough to understand that it's okay for, you know, Black men to express themselves, and it's okay to seek out therapy. It's okay to prioritize your mental health. And so that's the main reason. I really just want to be someone that people can say, you know, they can look to and say that this is a guy that's speaking on things that we haven't really heard before. Because I don't really see a lot of Black men talking about, at least in you know, where I'm from, I don't really see a lot of Black men talking about therapy and, you know, taking care of your mental health and prioritizing, getting the help that you need when you need it. So definitely love your, you know, both of you guys' answers.
Okay. Those answers, I just have to say, all our panelists, all of you guys are amazing. It is so inspiring to see people that look like me, and I'm you know, what the young people call me old, but I'm not old. But just seeing my face on your face and hearing like, this is Black excellence. I just feel like we need to do this a lot more, not just this month, but every month. And you guys are just amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have some young people on here, and I hope that they are inspired and driven and motivated to see that this is what we are, not what we're portrayed to be. This is us on a regular basis. And I'm just grateful to just be here. So thank you. We'll get to the next question. So this question is for Ms. David, Mr. David, Mr. Forson, and Ms. Jean. What has been the highlight of your career?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. I actually have kind of like a two-part answer. Don't kill me, Craig. I'm gonna keep it under 2 minutes. So as a musician, the highlight of my career actually came from a time when I wasn't playing my saxophone. If anybody knows Daniel Caesar's song Best Part, I had the opportunity to arrange it for a sinfonietta and actually conduct it in concert at the Madison Theater at Malloy College. And that was like an amazing experience because it was 100% my work, and you know, I completely did it, and it was me up there. You know, so that's an experience I'm gonna live with forever. As a DJ, you know, as many places I've been DJing, colleges, you know, I've DJed in Jamaica, all over, a bunch of parties and stuff like that. You know, the highlight of my DJ career was when I was DJing LL Cool J's Jumping Ball basketball camp. I DJed that 2 summers in a row at O'Connor Park, if anybody knows where that is. And I enjoyed that so much because it was every weekend in August. The kids were out there playing basketball, and it was just a community thing. We were giving back to the community. Parents were out there having fun. And I was DJing from 8 in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon. It was hot, but it was something that, was for the community. And it was something that was keeping all of the youth out of trouble, keeping people occupied, having fun. There was people out there cleaning, playing basketball, eating, drinking. It was amazing. And of course, that actually led to me getting a gig from Nike, which was another highlight of my career. So yes.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. I think for me, the highlight of my career has been related to my podcast. So I called it a community earlier, but it's a community and a podcast called Express Yourself Black Man. And I created that podcast as a way to kind of talk about some of the things that I've learned from therapy, because I know it's not accessible for everybody. Some people don't have health insurance and some people just can't afford it. So that's my way of trying to at least give people something that they can get lessons and tips and, learn from, the mistakes that I've made. And so in one of the episodes, I have an episode called How to Find a Good Therapist. And I put some resources in that episode for people to find therapists. And somebody that listened to that episode actually told me that they found a therapist from the resources. So for me, that was really, that was a highlight.
Hi, I'll go next. I actually just started my career in public health. It's been 2 years now, and I actually got a promotion last week. So I would say that's my highlight, my recent highlight. And I'm claiming for more. And it's been a good experience so far. I could still remember today that the first thing my supervisor, she's from actually of Asian descent. She's Cambodian and she's a woman. And the first thing she told me was that she's training me to replace her, training me to move up. So I believe having motivating people in your corner, whether it's your career, personal life, that helps a lot. So I know that's one of my many highlights to come, and I'm working on it. I'm claiming it. So I would say that's my most recent highlight.
So our next question for tonight is for Mr. Riley, Ms. Lewis, and Ms. Beth. And the question is, what is your ultimate goal using your platform?
Did everybody hear the question, or you guys want us to repeat it real quick?
I was trying to go last since last time Mr. Davis said he didn't want to go after me, but I'm going to go first. I'm going to put the timer on just to be precise. My ultimate goal is a phrase that I learned a long time ago, lifting as you climb. And so my goal is to create opportunities because I am the head of a division that has 4 units. We have youth empowerment, community engagement, civic awareness, and reentry. All of those 4 units, I have supervisors and staff under me. I'm always looking and teaching them to educate people, looking for opportunities. We're doing internships and just ways to be out in the community to empower people and empower our community. And so I've been blessed to have this opportunity. And so I know God didn't put me here unless he had a reason for me to be here. So as many people as I can bless and help and advance in terms of mentoring and opportunities, employment, and just keeping them out of trouble. And it's something that I've done my whole legal career, and I'll do it till I can no longer do it, because my job is to ultimately be able to not have the level of incarceration and criminal activity in my community that I have. And the reason that I am at the Queens District Attorney's Office, because it's only been a year, is because I believe when Melinda Katz said we can't prosecute our way out of this mess and the situation we're in, we have to work with the community and empower and educate and mentor young people. When she said that, I was in. And so I have been blessed with the opportunity to make a difference, and that's what I do. And I got 7 seconds left.
Love that answer. Love that answer. And I'll actually go next. Piggybacking off of what Ms. Bab said, definitely lifting as you go. I feel like anybody that's in a position to help people, your ultimate goal should always be to bring as many people along as you can. And I feel like in my role with the Queens Library and in all my facets of life, with the Queens Library, I actually serve as the Correctional Outreach Services Assistant. So I'm speaking with guys coming home from Queensboro Correctional Facility in Long Island City. I'm speaking with people in Rikers Island, and we basically connect them to resources to help with job skills. We help them with technology training and all different things, all different types of skills that will help them move forward in their reentry process. And I could just think back to one particular time. I remember I was helping somebody create a professional resume, and the guy told me, he was like, I was really skeptical to come in because there's so many programs and so many so many things out there that's like a lot of fluff or a lot of barriers and a lot of things that that you have to hoops that you have to jump through before you get help. And I see that you guys are really for the people. And just the way he was speaking, it was just like, it was really heartwarming to me to see that he knew that he had a resource that he can rely on and that he can come back to the Queens Library with my team. And if he needed job certifications, if he needed help with finding a job, anything like that, that he knew that he could come to the library. So that's definitely my ultimate goal, is to just keep that kind of energy going.
Anybody else want to add?
No, I believe that was all of the panelists for today. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know. Is this an open forum or is it just for the panelists?
Oh, no, you can go. It's okay.
All right. So I seen this on I seen this flyer on social media and I thought it was dope. I love the idea of people galvanized and coming together and supporting each other and standing up for righteous causes. Especially the youth. I think that's so imperative. Unity. We need more unity. We need more self-love. We need more people to come together and actually do something. But ideas are great. And we should definitely think about how we plan to help and implement structures and different plans, right? But we need more people on the ground level. We need more people, more boots on the ground, doing things. So I love what I see here. I love the fact that there's all these young people here and that you guys are doing so much and you're passionate about the community. I myself, I have a nonprofit called Grooming Our Future for Success, and I'm all about pretty much equipping our youth with the tools that they need to become successful. So what I do pretty much, I put together different panels, throughout the year, things that I feel that our community needs. I'm from Queens, Long Island, Brooklyn. Those are the areas of operation that I normally work with, and I work with young adults, teens to young adults from ages 18 to around 35. And I also do put together curriculums because I think education is the key. We have to be able to educate ourselves, and to and a big part of education, is not just about math and English. It's about emotional education. Emotional intelligence is very important. I heard a young brother on here talk about that he's doing therapy, and I commend him for that. It's important to know what your love language is. It's important to get in contact with how you personally feel, and those things shouldn't be a taboo. It's empowering to express yourself and to acknowledge yourself. It's empowering. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that should be supported. I'm a big advocate for therapy. In fact, I kept a panel the other day on how do we heal racial trauma, right? There's a lot of trauma going on, all kinds of different trauma. You know, one of the things that we are dealing with and that we have a hard time dealing with is microaggression. You know, and it's something that you can't really put a finger on. You know, and but it leaves these resonating, you know, negative feelings and negative emotions, you know, streaming through our bodies, and we need to know how to deal with that. You know, it's okay to say how you feel, even if you don't understand why you feel that way. You know, so like I said, you know, I just love what you guys are doing. Please continue to do that because we need more people like that in our community. I appreciate everybody on here. You know, I've been paying attention. I didn't have my camera on most of the time, but I definitely feel that we should support things like this, and I commend you guys.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to give a nice little shout out real quick to the fabulous Tanisha Morrison from Assembly Hyman's office. Thank you so much for participating. Miss Morrison was on our last panel, and thank you so much for supporting. And without further ado, Shadaima, you wanted to, whoever was the next moderator, if you don't mind, continuing the agenda.
So the next question was for Mr. David, Mr. Riley, and Miss Friday. What is the biggest challenge you have faced in your field?
I actually won't mind going first on this one. So I would say the biggest challenge that I faced in my field would be, honestly, engagement. And I say that because, you know, even though we have, you know, even though we do have resources that's right in front of people, we do a lot of outreach where, we're here for the community, but there's still, you have to meet people where they're at. And especially in a time like right now with COVID-19 and everything going on, it's a little bit tougher, but when there's a will, there's a way, I'm just thinking back to actually, I apologize, everybody. I actually do have another program that I have to run to, but I just want to use that as, as like a reference to what I'm saying right now. So I actually planned to have a program that was supposed to be called No Barriers Tech, that was going to be for the reentry population coming home to be able to learn about new technologies, and even wherever, meeting wherever they're at, so that they can learn different technologies. They would have been able to get certified in Microsoft Word. They would have been able to get like intro to coding, things like that. And it would have been a good pathway into meaningful careers for anybody that would have followed through. Of course, with COVID-19, a big challenge with that is that we can't have people come to the library. The libraries are closed now, so now we have to meet them where they're at. We know that with this population, there's a lot of people who don't have access to technology, don't have access to laptops, smartphones and things of that nature to be able to participate. So what we had to really rely on is doing virtual programming, and we actually had to just change with the times. And so now what we're doing, the program is called Justice Without Barriers. And I came up with different topics that basically relate to reentry, whether it's a barrier in people's reentry that they can come and get resources and information from, or just information that would, behoove them to look into and follow up on. So our topics where we talked about jobs and construction. Today, we're going to be talking about parenting and how parents can use literacy to reconnect with their children when they come home from jail or prison. So that actually starts at 6 o'clock. I just wanted to use that as a, segue. And I thank everybody for having me. But that was, yeah, that was my answer. Just, being able to get that engagement and changing with the times, meeting people where they're at.
Thank you so much, Mike Riley, for being a part of our panel. We truly appreciate it. And it's always a pleasure to have you and your support for Queens Defenders and the Blank Project. So we'll totally have you back sometime in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
So for the next two people, I believe that was on this question, Shadaima, just reiterate it for me one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that was the next two people that should answer. What is the biggest challenge you have faced in your field is Mr. David and Miss Friday.
Alrighty, I'll go ahead and jump in. The biggest challenge that I've faced in my field as far as being a musician or anything in the music industry is just being a young musician in the field. I've been DJing since I was maybe 14 or so. And even now that I'm 22, I still look like I'm 14. But back when I was, 15, 16 or so, and I was, coming to the party, people would be like, "You the DJ?" Or if I'm DJing and somebody, an older skilled DJ used to come, "Yo, you don't know what you're doing." I always get underestimated as far as my experience and my knowledge goes. But I have a super extensive knowledge of music, whether I'm DJing or whether I'm playing, performing, or something like that. And also as a teacher, I've also been underestimated as far as my experience with teaching kids goes. I also feel like me being so young is an advantage because I'm able to relate to the kids and be able to connect with them. And no matter what classroom I'm in, I always connect with my kids, and it's always a great time, and I try to bring the best out of them. So that's the biggest challenge I've faced in my field.
Okay. I think for myself, like I said earlier, like I'm one of I think when I first started my program, I was the only Black woman in my program, and there was only one other Black man. So I think the biggest issue for me that I face is imposter syndrome. Half the time, I do not feel like I belong. I do not feel like I have valid knowledge. Like I'm constantly doubting my abilities. So like I know you guys just asked like the biggest achievement question. Recently, I was offered to teach my own course, right? And at first, like I had to go to my advisor and I was like, dude, are you sure I can do this? Like, do I even have the capacity to like do this? Like, do I have the knowledge to be able to like pass this on to people, And I've been TAing, I've been teaching like under other professors for like what, 3-4 years now. So there's no reason feasibly in theory, like I should be feeling that way. And he just kind of had to sit me down and look at me like, dude, you got this. Like, this is something you can completely do. Like, this is something well within your like sphere, your realm. And so like, for me, it's just constantly like, the insidious nature of imposter syndrome is you never know when it's going to like pop up or how it's going to pop up, but it's constantly reassuring yourself that you have value, you deserve to take space, that you come with knowledge and that you've been working your butt off for however many years. Jesus, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, for however many years in this program to get it done, like it's constantly reminding yourself that you deserve to be there and that you've worked hard enough to be there, I guess, for me.
All right, so we're gonna get to the next question. And this question is for Ms. Lewis, Ms. Jean, and Ms. Moats. Have you ever had the urge to give up in your profession? Yes. What motivated you to continue?
Of course. What motivated me to continue? I think 88 Babs said it, I'm here for a reason. Whatever space I'm in, I'm there for a reason. And that's my motivation, me knowing that I have an accountability to whoever I am representing. So it allows me to deal with the personalities. It allows me to deal with the emotions, and it allows me to keep going. So I may have those weak moments at times, but then I have to remind myself, I'm not there for myself. I'm there always representing someone else, and it's purpose driven. And I just got to dust it off my shoulders, grow, and keep it moving.
I'll go next. Well, as a health inspector, we're in the field a lot. So I would say sometimes I feel like giving up if it's weather conditions, whether it's extreme cold or heat. But I would say most of all, last year was challenging in the beginning of COVID because we didn't get to work from home for too long, maybe about 2 months or so. So being out there when everything was a little unsure about how safe it is, whatever the case may be, because as I explained, I'm a inspector, we work in the field, specifically work with pest control. So we're out going into neighborhoods, looking for any signs. What we do is look for any signs of rodents, rats or mice. So being in the field in the midst of everything was challenging last year. But what kept me going was just knowing that, we're doing this for a reason. New York City was a different state last year, so we weren't used to these conditions. So just knowing that I'm helping the community, ensuring that, we're helping certain buildings, certain neighborhoods get better when it comes to rodents, and just ensuring homeowners to realize, we're here to help them, You know, a lot of people think as an inspector, we're just out there just to find people and give tickets and, you know, make the city money, but it's, of course, there's more to that. And as health inspectors are also educators. So we're here to help people and educate them on how to avoid certain things. So I would say it was challenging, but just knowing that we're helping people was my motivation.
Yeah, it's really rough out there, but I'm glad we all persevered despite the negativity. So our next question goes to Mr. David, Miss Friday, Mr. Forson, and Miss Bat. What are some stereotypes you've heard? And that could be how you feel about them, how you try to overcome them.
Alrighty, I'm gonna jump in. I I think that one of the biggest stereotypes that I have heard is simple: is that music is not a career. Um, you know, I never saw myself going to college for music. I had some super monumental professors when I was in high school that pushed me, and of course my music teacher from elementary school that inspired me. And then once I really did get to college, the professors, everybody that I had there, motivated me even more. And now being a substitute music teacher, I can't even, if I was to go back 5 years from now, I wouldn't even have imagined myself in the position that I am now, or any of the experiences. Some of my best experiences in my life have come through music. So that's something that I'm passionate about, is making sure that anybody that I come across, as far as my students, if you have an interest in something, just keep going. You know what I mean? You can make a career out of what you are passionate about. Of course, for me it's music, but it doesn't matter if it's drawing, writing, video games, doesn't matter. And just trying to light that spark inside of anybody.
I can go next. I think for me, and this is gonna sound like repetitive, but it's been like toughen up and be a man. And I feel like those words, especially when you say it to younger kids, younger Black men or younger Black boys, it makes them internalize their feelings, and then it leads to Black men that don't know how to express themselves and that are emotionally unavailable. So I feel like that's a big a stereotype that really hurts and harms Black men when it comes to expressing themselves, and not only Black men, because it's just men in general. But I like to speak specifically to Black men because we're talking about the Black community. But that's one stereotype that I definitely feel like is harmful, that I try to make sure that I address whenever I can.
I think the one thing for me, especially like my life is academia, right? Is that I'm just kind of like an affirmative action hire, or like I'm only here just because like they needed to fill a certain quota of people that look like me, which probably also feeds into like this notion of imposter syndrome. And again, it's just constantly reminding myself and working my butt off to make sure that I am filling up this space, that I am reminding myself that I deserve to be here and that I worked hard to be here. And just knowing like academia is too damn white. We need more hires like me. We need more people that look like me. We need more people that look indigenous, that look Latinx, that look all different colors under the sun, to actually be able to have a fair and just education, so people can actually learn and have those experiences, So that would be the stereotype for me, at least.
Okay, our last and final question.
Wait, Angela, the question was also for Ms. Dav.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's no problem. No problem. For me, the stereotypes as a woman of color and as a prosecutor is why are you doing this? Why are you working for the man? Why are you on that side? And something that I've always thought was important is you need to, when somebody's a victim, they need to be able to have a conversation that they are at their most vulnerable. They need to be able to be comfortable with somebody that they can have a conversation with to talk about what has happened to them. You need people of color on every side of the table and every seat in the courtroom, because that's the only way that there is equity and fairness. You need people of color to make sure to hold the police accountable, the judge accountable, the defense attorneys accountable, the prosecutor accountable, so that the victim gets justice, the defendant, the accused gets a fair trial, and that everybody's playing by the rules. And as we have progressed, because I've been doing this for next week will be 27 years, we've progressed to progressive prosecution and reform. But back in the day, you needed somebody to make sure folks were playing right and everything was on board. Because we've come far, we have a lot further to go. But watching the journey from the seat that I sit in, we needed to be at the table. Because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Ooh, we need you to come to talk to our kids. That was refreshing to hear it come.
Excellent point.
Woo, woo, woo. Okay, so we're gonna get to our final and last question. And the question is for Ms. Jean, Ms. Moults, and Ms. Lewis. What have you done or are doing to make your community better?
I'm just gonna jump in because ADA Bab took my quote. You know, I'm at the table. You know, I am not on the menu. I was literally saying, okay, let me get my thoughts together for the last question. I am at the table. I am not on the menu.
Sorry.
That's all right. We just connected. I'm representing our community. I'm speaking up. I'm not shy. You know, we do know that healthcare is dominated not by us, but they make decisions for us. And so I'm at the table, you know, making sure that our decisions, our needs are voiced and it's heard. And then I'm teaching others. And I think for me, that's the greatest impact, that whatever community I'm in, whatever space I'm in, wherever I'm at, that's my community at that time. And that's what I fight for, I advocate for, and that's who I represent. So I'm teaching, I'm at the table, and I'm definitely voicing the concerns of our people.
And kind of just to piggyback, I think like one of the biggest things for me is teaching my community. So I've been very privileged in getting as much education as I have, right? Like, but that's not something that people that look like me or a lot of people have access or opportunity to. So recently I started an initiative through Instagram called Fridays with Prof, where not only do I take weekly lessons from my class, where I teach a class on race, gender, and prisons, right? I post them on that page so people can kind of read and learn about different concepts. So like, let's say we're talking about W. Du Bois and we're talking about double consciousness, right? I'm going to go ahead and create a post so it makes it more accessible for people who may not be able to get a college education in that way. And so for me, it's how am I making my community better, I guess? It's giving my community the tools that they may not have when it comes to affording an education, but just making it more accessible for people outside of that.
I agree with all of these ladies. I love that quote. I'm also at the table and I'm aiming on bringing more seats to the table. Lately, I've been advocating a lot with younger people in my family and my godchildren who are thinking about college, thinking about what they want to do with their lives. Education is always something that we should push for, but also encourage them to be business owners. Look for civil service jobs like myself. Being a city worker and being on both sides of the fence helps when there's more of our faces, more of our people there, just to make differences between whether you want to join a union, advocating for yourself. I have strong colleagues who always advocate for themselves. They teach me, I learn from them, and just, you know, making more space for us at the table. So aiming for that in all aspects with the youth, our peers, we all need to motivate each other when it comes to making a difference, of course, for ourselves and as a community.
Lifting as we climb. I'll never forget that quote. Lifting as we climb.
Anybody else have a comment regarding to the last question? Just to reiterate it, it was what have you done or are doing to make your community better? If not, I believe we are concluding our fantastic Black History Month Town Hall for February. Again, my name is Alexandra Bradley. I am the Social Justice Coordinator for Queens Defenders. Thank you all. Oh my goodness, I love this panel. I must say, out of all the town halls we've done, I love this one. Why? Because I'm a Black female. One, that's for starters. And one quote that I must tell you that always will resonate with me no matter when is a quote by Alice Walker. You know, activism is my rent for literally being on this planet. There was a reason why I created the Blink Project, and that was because, you know, not only due to what happened last summer, it was because why not? Everybody needs justice. Everybody needs some form of a voice. Without a voice, I don't know what we'll be doing. We would just be zombies on this earth, literally. And not for nothing, I'm so thankful to have my kids here. Thank you so much to have Angela co-facilitate this with me all the time. And on top of that, it was a pleasure to have you guys varying from Tim, Ella, Miss Colleen, Bab, Renee. Thank you, Dan, for helping me get Miss Bab here. Thank you so much to everybody that was here. Thank you so much, Mr. Forson. Thank you so much, Shirley. It was a pleasure to see you again. Oh my goodness, to all of our panelists, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, Miss Danielle Robinson, for being here. I see you from Queens Public Library. Again, anybody have any last questions for any of our panelists? If so, you may ask it. However, 6:30 will soon be here.
Question/suggestion.
Sure. Yes,
Nick
Mr. Nick
Hillary.
Hillary from Queens Defenders.
Queens Defender. Next month marks Women's Month, and I was wondering if you can assemble these wonderful, inspiring women to come and speak on a panel like this. I would love.
Do I hear Nick Hillary asking me to help him coordinate something? Sure, why not? I of course don't mind. Also, another thing that the Blink Project is doing for those of you all on this panel and all of our participants, the Blink Project is hosting a Black History Month game night on Friday of this week, where we're giving away a JBL speaker, and you can win up to $100 if you win a game. So I would totally love for you all to be there, share the word. I believe I've shared with all of you that are on the panel, I think the flyer. If not, forgive my brain right now. But I will definitely share with you all, if anything. If you want, you can leave your email here in the chat, and I will definitely keep you posted on any updates regarding the Blink Project, any activities, any programming that we are doing. But without further ado, does anybody from the Blink Project wish to say anything to our fantastic panel?
I have a question.
Yes,
I have a
Sahara.
question. Yes, I have a question for Mrs. Renee Motes. I don't know if I'm like pronouncing your last name correctly, but I remember you saying that you work at Hofstra and that you're one of the few Black professors at the School of Communication. I'm a student at Hofstra, and I can confirm that. So I just wanted to know, do you ever feel like you have to overcompensate for the fact that you are part of the minority of people of color and even the smaller percentage of Black women and men professors at that school? Do you ever catch yourself feeling like you have to overwork or do more to prove yourself as a professor? And what do you do to get yourself out of that mind state?
I think, in my entire career, that has always been the thing. Just even as an executive woman, Black woman, you have to wear a suit. You have to look a certain way. And, for me, I have learned to just own who I am and be okay with that. Be okay with coming to work with my hair not straight sometimes and still being respected for what I'm saying at the table. I really had to get comfortable, with being who I am, a Black woman, a Black executive woman, and understanding that regardless of how I look or how I dress, it's really the knowledge that I'm giving, the support, the partnership that I'm giving to people that really is is really what matters. And then educating those around me that it's okay, you know? So it has taken some time, but yes, I have definitely felt that way. But I had to become comfortable with myself first, because for a long time as a Black woman, you have been taught to always look a certain way in corporate America. You have always been taught to look a certain way in academia. And so I think the way our society is going right now with everyone, as everyone says, is being woke. It's changing the perspective. I know that I think it was a congresswoman put in legislation about the hair, women hair, you know, and that they can come to work with their hair, you know, in an afro or curly and still be able to get a job. I forgot which legislation that was, but you know, that was put into play. And I think having these conversations and making changes in our policies, it really helps us to adjust and become okay with who we are, and knowing that we don't have to change ourselves to sit at the table. You know, we are fine just the way we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without further ado, again, thank you. I appreciate you all. I look forward to having more town halls with you all as our panelists. Thank you again, Ella, for being here. Thank you, Tim, for being here. Thank you, Ms. Moats. Thank you, Ms. Bab. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, thank you to our remaining panelists. Thank you, Shirley. Forgive me, it was a long panel. I'm just basing it on who I see right here on the screen. But thank you everybody for being here. Again, happy Black History Month and have a great rest of the night.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That was excellent.
Thank you so much.
Safe.
All of you are very
Bye.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.